Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gann, alongside my partner, Jack McNicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. Now have the chance, go check out our website, justsayingfootball.com, and follow us on Instagram at JustSaying, no G, WJS for article and video updates. Week 7 continues.
Yep.
This Sunday, buddy, a little bit of fantasy news. Worst scoring fantasy season through the first 6 weeks in 10 years.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Scoring low.
With how crazy all these games have been this season, this has to be, we keep talking about, we're going to see how these teams shape up or these games are going to shape out. And they never expected, we haven't expected what we have expected. Now, the fantasy season kind of reflects that.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising. I think everyone in our fantasy league was like, oh my God, I'm scoring so little. What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's happening to everyone.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
It's a real drought. But, it's one of those things that makes you realize that it's where a lot of these teams are at. And, to transition into this first game, it shows a lot where different teams are at right now. The Panthers at home against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Both of these teams are in very different places right now.
Yeah, this is our blowout game, our only blowout game of the week, too.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay currently favored 10.5 points, over under 40.5. I'm riding with Tampa Bay. Rams, this was a get-right game for them. I think it's going to be the same for the Buccaneers. Carolina, still not sure about Baker Mayfield. Still no Sam Darnold. P.J. Walker did not play great last week. 10 points, that looks great. What are you saying? They lost 27-10. Well, 7 of those points came from a pick six. That's not from anything from the
Matthew
offense.
Stafford, who is leading the league in picks right now with 8 picks.
Yep. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we saw Tom Brady yelling at the offensive line. He was at the wedding until Friday, all that kind of stuff in practice. Get right game against the Panthers. You win the divisional game. That's huge. Sadly, Panthers, you dropped 1-6.
Yeah, I think it's 1-6. I think Tampa Bay covers the 10.5. It's the lowest. It's the biggest spread of the weekend at 10.5, but it's also the lowest over under of the weekend. So this is a game you can just kind of stay away from in general, I feel like. But it also could be a Brady revenge game as well,
Well, which might just be fun to watch for your fantasy owner. All right, let's move this along into our Met games. First one of the week, got the Atlanta Falcons making their way to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Bengals currently favored by 6, over under 47.5. Atlanta, surprising.
Big surprise last week. I had San Francisco in all of my parlays, and Atlanta kind of destroyed them in the sense that I thought San Francisco would have been a lock last week. Obviously, San Francisco dealing with some injuries. But like I said, Atlanta, man, they were up. It felt like they were up 28-14 the whole game. They made it so their defense was great last week. Kyle Pitts, low yardage, but he got his first touchdown last week. We were waiting for that.
Yeah, not only his first touchdown of the season, his first touchdown in the U.S. because last season his lone touchdown came in the London game. So,
but the Bengals on the other side, you would see this game as they are not as similar teams, but both teams started 0-2. Now they've won 3 out of 4. I do think the Bengals have a little more pressure on them being the AFC champions. They're at home. That division's getting tight right now with Pittsburgh winning last week, the Ravens losing last week. So I will go with the Bengals. Atlanta is undefeated against the spread, so I do want to mention that I do think that Atlanta would cover that 6-point spread, but I do like the Bengals in this game.
Yeah, I like the Bengals as well. I think the offense is starting to find its rhythm, which is scary for the rest of the league. One of the things just also note, when the Bengals won last year in the AFC Championship game, they were not like this 13-4 team. You know, they were only 11-6. They were a team with some flaws, but they still just played really good football, and I think that's when they're at their scariest, and that's kind of what they're starting to do.
Definitely.
But I like them this week. But I think the Falcons undefeated in the spread, I think, is what you told me.
Yeah.
Before we started this video.
If not, they are 5-1, I believe.
Which is fantastic odds. So with the -6, I would put the Falcons against the spread. That would be nice. But I think the Falcons are gonna put up a fight for sure. But this is Bengals win for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And what about our next game here?
Oh, let's move this right along. When the Lions go to Dallas, take on the Cowboys. Cowboys are favored -7. Over under 48.5. High scoring offense for a while, where the Lions don't think that they are right now after the bye week and not scoring any points against the Patriots last time they played. But Cooper Rush, first loss of his career.
Yeah, it was not good. They had 2 interceptions in the first half. That one was a kind of a tip. One was kind of a clear interception. The last one obviously kind of sealed the deal. And when you're down 20-0, that's a kind of a this is one of those games where I feel like they expected Dak back. They didn't get him. They kind of planned for Cooper Rush. I think this, Cooper Rush 5-0 as a starter before this. I think this was kind of due for him to have a bad game. Unfortunately, it comes at this time. But, I mean, against the Lions, this is tricky. I like Dallas more because they have a better defense. But, a team coming off a bye could be well rested.
Yeah, Amon-Ra should be 100%. We saw him before the bye week. Clearly not 100% of the time.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift, they supposedly sat him the week before the bye week against the Patriots, so that way he could get more time to rest. So he's expected to be fully healthy and good to go, it seems like.
That's good.
So those are all positive points for the Lions. That being said, Dallas defense playing great. Micah Parsons, still Defensive Player of the Year candidate currently right now.
Yeah.
Dak can return. He's supposed to be cleared possibly today, tomorrow, sometime this week, which would be huge for them. I don't know if he'll necessarily get the start right off the bat, but a generous game like the Lions could be something that they're looking for. But that being said, I think even if they start Cooper Rush, I'll lock in the Cowboys because I like the way they've been playing defensive football.
And we kind of forget sometimes that they do have, great weapons. And, I think this could be a good, opportunity for CeeDee Lamb to get opportunities. Michael Gallup is 1 week healthier. I think that even if Dak or Cooper Rush starts, I think that they need a get-right game after last week. Prime time in Philly, as a Giants fan, I know that is tough. So I will go with the Cowboys. No problem on this one. Dallas by 7, though. That does scare me a little. I do think
a little bit closer.
Detroit plays like the way that Denver, we talk about Denver makes their opponents bad. Detroit makes their opponents the same way. So if Dallas gets off to a hot start, Detroit will be off to a hot start too. So I could expect them to kind of keep it close.
All right, I like that. Let's move this right along. When the New York Giants take on the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. Currently, Jacksonville is favored by -3 and over under 42.5. Now, I know that Jack does not like that disrespect, considering that his Big Blue is 5-1, playing stellar defense, and Saquon running like a number 2 overall pick.
Well, he's been great this whole season, and last week you saw him flying into the end zone. You love that. The Giants' defense has really stepped up week by week. We've been talking about that. I think that disrupting Trevor Lawrence has been the formula to beating the Jaguars this week. The Giants, it looks like they're healthy on their defense in every way. On their offense, the receivers have been struggling, but Wan'Dale getting his first touchdown last week. The coaching staff starting to trust a lot of these younger receivers, and that could be interesting against Jacksonville's defense. Their passing defense has struggled this year. But I think this is going to be more of a grittier game like the ones we saw earlier in the seasons for the Giants.
Yeah, we got all hot and bothered on the Jacksonville Jaguars hot start, I think. And
we're sorry about that.
We got that boost. I still think they're gonna win some more games. Yeah, sorry about that. I do think they're gonna win some more games. I like Doug Peterson for them. I'm a little surprised though that Jacksonville's favored in this one. I like the Giants going to this one. We didn't pick them last week. It was the first time that neither one of us, or
the disrespect.
Second time you did. First time that I didn't pick them. And that was our mistake. Now look, Daniel Jones 8-3 in his last 7 games, and he's winning games. It's not pretty, but the recipe is gritty defense and run the football, and it's working for the Giants. I think that's a recipe that you can use against Jacksonville. I do want to see some sort of growth from Daniel Jones in this offense. I think they're really catering to him in all capacities, but at some point he needs to make a play or something that shows that he can take this.
Give us like a 300-yard, 3-touchdown game at
exactly.
one point.
He did his first game ever against Tampa Bay.
I do think that this is a huge upset. I think, like you're saying, the fact that Jacksonville is 2-4, and they have lost to Houston this year, and here we are, and they're favored by 3 over the 5-1 Giants. I mean, say what you want about the Giants this year, they are better than Jacksonville in my opinion. I'm taking them out the gate. I'm so sorry, Giants fans, that I didn't take them last week against the Ravens, but I jinxed myself into the real team, so I'm very, very happy here. So, what are you thinking about the line though? 42.5. Like I said, it's gritty. I think it could be a low line, but 42.5 is pretty low. Under. Yeah,
I will say this about the Giants. They don't score a lot of points, but they don't let teams score a lot of points either. So
that's the formula.
I'll take the under on that one. Let's move this right along with an AFC South showdown when the Indianapolis Colts make their way to Tennessee to face the Titans. Tennessee currently favored by -2.5, one of the worst possible spreads that you can see, and 42.5 over under. I know they're the absolute worst. Now, same record, 3-2. Colts have the tie, But the Tennessee Titans have the tiebreaker right now because they have the win over the Colts because they had that.
Yeah.
They played, I think it was like week 2.
This is a dangerous thing.
Now, this is really important because they've had 3 fourth quarter comebacks in the last 6 starts for the Colts with Matt Ryan. That's great.
That's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty incredible that he has still that ability to be a 2-minute drill threat, Matt Ryan. It's like really a credit to his like longevity in the game. But what's crazy about the Colts offense is they really just operate around whoever's there. With the receivers being hurt, they've been creative. I just want to mention, Deion Jackson for all the Jonathan Taylor owners. Very happy I streamed him this week as everybody else has 30 points. I mean, the guy had 10 catches on 10 targets, 79, and he had 12 for 42 and 1 on the ground. I mean, can you imagine, that's very Taylor-esque, you couldn't even kind of tell the difference there. So the Colts are moving right now, but the Tennessee Titans are winning these games. And like you said, they did beat Indianapolis, and now they're at home. I am a little bit confident in them. I think the 2.5 is Vegas saying, look, Tennessee, they're probably going to win the game, but we don't know by how much.
But it could easily flip with just a field goal. Now, the important thing to me that I think all Tennessee Titans fans love to see, and Derrick Henry owners love to see, is 104 carries, 408 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Just really, having a good opening start to the season. And I think that's what you want from one of the best running backs in all of football.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be running him a lot. This is a tough one for me. I want to go to Indianapolis because of those comebacks, but I think that Tennessee's going to run the ball, and I think they're going to run the ball well. They have the home crowd behind them. They already won the first game. And Indianapolis, I think, still has some question marks. While it's been nice to see some wins the last few games, not all of them have been pretty, like that Denver primetime game. So there's still some learning curves, I think, with this Matt Ryan offense and that kind of stuff. I can trust the Titans a little bit more.
Yeah, so that's really what it is for me. It's like just all those things kind of align. I do also, same line as the last game, 42.5. I'll take the under on that as well, just because I don't see Jonathan Taylor coming back. I see them trying to run as much as possible, but I see Tennessee doing the same thing. I think it's just going to be too much clock, going down.
I get that. Let's move this right along. When the Green Bay Packers make their way to Washington to take on the Commanders, Green Bay currently favored in this one by 5.5, over under 41.5. Some injury news in this one. Carson Wentz will be missing the next 4 to 6 weeks with a fractured finger. Tyler Heineke will begin the start. They did win last week, Washington. The Packers lost back-to-back games, which I love. They lost to the Giants and the Jets. Yeah, some New York teams showing out.
One across the pond and one in Lambeau. Like,
it was absolutely
two
beautiful.
of Aaron Rodgers' favorite places.
I know. It's his 2 favorite places to play, and he lost in both of them. But Randall Cobb also injured. That's big for Rodgers because this offense does not look the same. They're going to make a trade for a wide receiver.
They're saying it. Yeah, there is news today that, I'm happy you mentioned that. There's news today that before the deadline, week 9, they are looking to make a trade for a big wide receiver. I don't know who it's going to be. I feel like we'll be talking about that more next week. We'll have more speculation, or maybe even on the Monday episode, who could be the Packers, big trade target. But yeah, I mean, this is a winnable matchup for them after they're going 2-0-2. The Vikings are 5-1. Shout out to Sean's team, but that is going to put a lot more pressure on the Packers, man. And like you said, I think there's going to be a big, running back fight. We got Antonio Gibson and
Brian Robinson
on one side. Shout out Brian Robinson. Out here as we love him, and he got his first touchdown last week. And Dillon and Jones. I mean, Dillon seems to be surpassing Aaron Jones in carries, and it's
weird. And
their offense is not getting better because when Aaron Jones is involved, they win those games. No discredit to A.J. Dillon, but the Packers are kind of not operating the way you'd want them to right now. I think this game is a game for them to get right and win it.
We've been saying that for a while now with them. I feel like, and they had the lead against the Giants and they lost it. You have to win this game. Washington just has not been playing great football overall, and now with Heineke, I think that gives them a really good chance to go out. It's going to be a defensive-heavy matchup, but this is this is a get-right game for the Packers. You got to get to 4-3 because right now, like you mentioned, the Vikings are 5-1 in that. They have a 2-game lead on them, but not only do they have that, they have the early tiebreaker. The Vikings swept the entire division in the first half of the season. 3-0, Lions, Packers, and Bears, oh my, all lost.
Yeah.
at home and their away games against the Vikings. So, the Packers need to win this game if they want to try to keep in this division, or else that slowly gets farther and farther away for them. All of a sudden this three-ish game. It's
and that's as much as you love that. The logic of the Packers being 3-4, you'd be like, all right, now it's time to get a little nervous.
Yeah.
With the division.
Then I think you're hitting the panic button if you lose this game to Washington. So Green Bay, get this dub. Aaron Rodgers, show why you're the back-to-back MVP, and let's move this right along. You're going with the Packers as well.
Yeah,
right?
I'm going with the Packers on that one.
Nice. Let's move this right along. When the New York Jets make their way to Denver to take on the Broncos, over/under in this one, 40.5. Denver, favored by -3. Disrespectful to the New York teams, okay?
Yeah.
That is what we're seeing.
This is some crazy stuff, man. Vegas wants you to throw the New York parlay because the Yankees are going to be on the ALCS. You can throw in the Big Bong parlay.
You know
what I'm saying?
Go with the Jets. Go with the Jets right now because look. I don't go with the Jets. So that's why you should already be saying I got to go with the Jets. This is I don't necessarily do this, but look, they're playing really good fucking defense, man. They're getting after the quarterback. Special teams are stepping up, making plays when they got to make plays. Zach Wilson might not be completing the ball, but they're running the ball really well with everyone who's behind him. Denver is poo-poo. They're poo-poo nonsense. They are not good. Russell Wilson is not good with that team. He's got the hamstring. He's got the shoulder. He's trying to play this week. I don't know why why he's favored. This was not a great Thursday night matchup last year. It's when Jerry Jeudy got his first touchdown and his first Moss catch in the pros. But this is just ugly. Now, look, the Broncos make you play to their level, which is poo-poo nonsense. But I think that the Jets can overcome that because the Jets' defense is much better than that. I think they're going to create a lot of turnovers, score up points, and get to run up the stat sheet a little bit, scoreboard a little bit.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a win to them, and I'll comfortably take them with a touchdown win.
I think so too, and I think that if you do like an alternate thing of them going, being favored by 7, you honestly could, have a great day. Denver, like you said, they make teams worse. Cortland Sutton last week, just nothing, 2 for 15, just not what you want to see. I mean, it's just like it's very upsetting to see that this whole Russell Wilson Denver offense has not panned out to what we saw in the summer. But the Jets, I mean, I talk about a team like Sean said that we, kind of discredited. I think that, everybody's doing great. Wilson, Sauce, great picks. Breece Hall. It seems like this draft, you can already see they have like 5 rookies that are like already making an impact. And that's what makes a good team. Breece Hall, 100 yards and a touchdown last week. I like that for him this week too. And the over-under of 40, I would just stay away from that. These teams, this is either going to be too big of a shootout or just a slugfest you don't want any part of with that line.
Absolutely agree with that. Let's move this right along. When the Houston Texans make their way to Vegas to take on the Raiders, Vegas is currently favored by -7, over-under 46. I'm going with the Raiders in this one. Look, I like what the Texans have done. Excuse me. This season, Dameon Pierce looking great. Love him in fantasy. Have him in fantasy. 86, 412, 4 touchdowns, or 3 touchdowns on the ground. Josh Jacobs also playing really well. But the thing that is scary to me is just the Texans' secondary is not good. I like Stingley, but their defense is the worst passing defense. And we've talked about it all offseason, and it's fun to talk about. Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, Josh Jacobs. You got a loaded offense. This is the team. You're 1-4. Your playoff chances are low.
You have to win this game. You have to do it. Like we keep saying, there's all these teams, and this is what it means. Like when you're staring at your fantasy team and you're 1-5 or 2-4 right now, you gotta make stuff happen. And
this is a real NFL team.
And this is a real NFL team. These guys are 1-4, and they got Kansas City and LA winning these games. They got Denver messing everybody up.
We lost to the Cardinals. We got fans popping champagne in the third quarter. We got Kyler Murray running 30 yards all over the place for 26 seconds.
Losing to the Seahawks, not scoring an offensive touchdown. I mean, the Raiders need to win this game, plain and simple for me. I think that Josh Jacobs, coming off the bye, it has something to prove. I think Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and Devontae.
Get him involved. Let's go.
Yeah, he had 30 points before the bye. Go get him.
All right.
He needs simple touchdowns. I'll take them by a touchdown, no problem.
Love that. All right, let's move this right along. On the Pittsburgh Steelers make their way to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Dolphins currently favored by a touchdown as well, like the Raiders were. Over under 45 points.
Sunday Night Football, man. It's not as good as last week, and I'm talking about the Eagles-Cowboys last week.
Yeah, this is not the best game. Potentially no Kenny Pickett. He is going through the concussion protocol. Tomlin did say if he clears the concussion protocols, he's in. Just something to pop my head. I feel like there's been a lot of concussions.
Yeah.
This season.
It's been pretty heavy, especially with Tua coming up, and now they have new regulations the
and
last
Teddy
2 weeks.
got one.
Since they've had the regulations the last 2 weeks, they have shown certain. They have a new code basically in the medical system that essentially if the player is under that designation, they will be under that designation in their injury report. So they will have that in game now. And since they've been having that the last 2 weeks, there have been multiple cases of head injuries, neck injuries within the last couple of weeks, unfortunately. Especially to see both these teams in prime time with a lot of young stars dealing with that right now. That's really when it comes to light, and it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just something to monitor. One of those things you just got to pay attention to. Hopefully, with the new rules, though, maybe this is more like a prevention method more so than it is people getting all these concussions, because that's a lead CT, that kind of stuff. Just something to be wary of. Miami, looked good last week. I saw them live. They look good at some parts.
I saw them with my own eyes.
My two eyes. I saw Tyreek Hill 177-yard game on 12 catches against us. I also saw that Jalen Waddle fumble. That was fantastic for us. Look, this Dolphins team is loaded. They've been playing really well. Tua's in. Even if he wasn't, Teddy threw for 329, 2 for 1, and Skylar Thompson looked really comfortable. Miami had a second drive of the game, had 5 penalties. They were so close to scoring multiple times. They got the first down multiple times. Each penalty held them back. Steelers surprised last week against the Buccaneers, but Tua's in. Dolphins need to win this to keep up at pace in this AFC East. We got the Jets at 4-2, and we got the Bills.
What is going on?
I don't know. So Dolphins at 3-0 start. You now lost 3 straight. This is we keep talking about these get right games. These games you gotta just kind of get the ball rolling. Dolphins, this is that point in the season. You gonna make it? You gonna break it? What's happening here?
Yeah, it's really crazy because these two teams, they've just been dealing with so much injury, but I think this is going to be kind of more of a defensive game. But both of these teams have great receivers. They have good running backs. I think this is also a good game for Najee Harris to get right, even though he has been struggling this whole season. But
yeah, he has.
I don't know what to make of the Steelers right now because they just kind of leaned on Kenny the last 2 weeks. Now they're, they put him against Josh Allen and Tom Brady, and now he's not playing. Now they got Mitch.
What's the concussion protocol? He'll start if he clears. If he clears, but it worries me either way with the quarterback situation. I think against Byron Jones, Xavier Howard. I think that I do like Miami more in this game, but I think this game is going to be a little sloppy, a little bit closer than the touchdown. What do you think? Yeah, I don't think he'll be a little bit closer than the touchdown. But actually, maybe not. I kind of like that, honestly. The more I'm looking at that, the Dolphins had a lot of chances to score. I would say the Dolphins left, probably 14 points on the board against the Vikings early on in that game. Yeah. So based on what I saw last week with Tua in, I was. There's one fan in front of me kept thumping on the chair and it was every first down. And they go, that's another Miami Dolphins, and all the fans go first down, and you just could be first down. And he kept eyeing me, and just the entire drive of the penalties called every single penalty wrong. After it was just it was brutal. But look, fins up. I think the Dolphins win this one.
Yeah, I like that one. And so our good games, we got a couple of good games.
No, we have one good game.
We got one good game and one game of the week. So stick with us.
No, one good game, 2 good games of the week.
2 good games of the week.
2 good games of the week. You guys are in for a treat.
So bring us into the good game, Sean.
Good game of the week. We got the Cleveland Browns making their way to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Baltimore -6.5 favorites, over under 46.5. Both these teams coming off of losses. The Ravens once again lose in the fourth quarter, and their fourth quarter woes continue. What are your thoughts?
Man, it's been tough for Baltimore. They could be 6-0. You know what I'm saying? Especially
could, shoulda, woulda, but they're not.
But it's tough teams that they've lost. All the teams they've lost against, they have winning records. They got Miami, the Bills, and the Giants beating them. But both teams not what you'd expect, and I feel like it's gonna be a big rushing game. 46.5 is like perfect there. I like Baltimore more if they were at home, but if they were in Cleveland, I would be a little bit worried about that 6.5. I will tell you one thing that I'm very interested about Lamar is that he turned the ball over late in the game last week. You can't be doing that, especially against the Browns, who have a really good defense.
Yep.
So I do worry about the Browns, even though I do kind of think their team's trending in the wrong direction right now.
Yeah, I like the Ravens in this one. They're at home. This division is so close. They're 3-3. The Bengals are 3-3, and then you have the Browns and the Steelers at 2-4. And the only thing keeping Cincy not in the playoffs right now is the Ravens win over them in the division. Now, we said that the Bengals are going to win against where are they? Oh my God, who are they playing this week? The Bengals. We just talked about them against the Falcons. This is one of those games where the Ravens have to win. It's a division opponent that's at home. You got to have that win over them.
Yeah.
And the Bengals have potentially an easier win this weekend. You got to just keep at pace with them at this point. You're playing for this division win. You're playing for a playoff spot right now. It's tight in the AFC North, and there's a possibility that the Steelers or the Browns somehow pull out a couple wins, and it gets even tighter.
Yeah, and Lamar, in his 8 games versus the Browns, he has 11 touchdowns, 6 picks. It's not like he goes off, but we always remember that one game where he left in the fourth quarter and he came back and he dominated and he had 4 touchdowns.
The infamous poop game.
Yeah, and I think that he does struggle sometimes against the Browns, but I do like them. Like you said, the stakes are too high for Baltimore this week. Trend of the week, honestly, is a lot of teams with their back against the wall that we had high expectations of in winnable matchups. And I think that this is one of those for Baltimore.
Yeah. All right. Let's go Baltimore. Let's see what they can do. Let's move this right along to our games of the week. Our first game of the week at 4:25. The Seattle Seahawks making their way to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. LA currently favored by -6.5 over under 51.5. Now you're probably wondering, Jack, Sean, why would that be a game of the week? You know why? Because Seahawks are 3-3. They just beat their NFC West rival, the Cardinals. And Geno Smith has a 73% completion, which is currently leading the entire league. They're playing solid football.
God, hasn't had a bad game all season. I can't even.
And Kenneth Walker's running well. It's an underrated team, and let's be honest here. Well, the Chargers are 4-2, and I love the Chargers. Everyone knows. It hasn't been the same without Keenan Allen. Justin Herbert, in year 3, does not look what we expected him to be, and that's okay. There's been a lot of injuries to this team, including their all-pro center, Corey Linsley, and stuff like that, and they've lost Rashawn Slater for the entire year.
Nick Bosa,
things like this. So it makes sense that they're taking that step back.
I'm sorry, Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa. One of the Bosa brothers. They're both really good. This is a chance, I think, for the Seahawks to kind of go out there and really surprise against people because they have just been playing really clean football. And I'm actually going to go with Seattle. And I know that the line is heavily favored to LA with that -6.5. But I think this could be one of those surprise upset games. And, Seattle surprised last week. Why can't they surprise again?
So I know we've agreed much today, but I will go with the Chargers, which, when I'm going with the Chargers, it usually means probably like Seattle will win. But I am going to go with the Chargers at home. It's a high over-under. This could go either way. Like you love a good shootout.
I like the over.
Close. I like the over on that, definitely, with the Chargers missing a couple of guys. J.C. Jackson was benched last week, but he's too good of a corner last week. You don't know that? Oh, no, I'm sorry. On Monday night.
No, I know. I'm just being like, ooh,
it's like I'm just saying the $82 million man sitting on the bench. He's gonna be probably in a little bit better next week with Asante Samuel, Derwin James. They're gonna have a lot to do against the Seattle Seahawks. I like the Seahawks covering the spread, but LA, they squeamed out of that game last night.
They really did.
So I do believe that this is going to be in LA's favor, in my opinion.
All right, that's okay when we defer because I love LA. All right, let's move this right along to our last game of the week, another 4:25 game. In the Super Bowl rematch when the Kansas City Chiefs make their way to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. Kansas City currently favored by -3, another annoying spread. Over under 48.5. Now, both these teams lost last week. Kansas City lost to the Bills. I said it was going to happen. No one wanted to hear it, but it did. It happened. get-right game for Patty Mahomes. He threw 2 interceptions. He still played a really great game, really clean for the most part.
Yeah.
So when I say get-right game for Mahomes, it's
got
not your average get-right game.
I think that it's a good time for him. Like last week, this is like he's. It's just interesting. I like we always see those games where he kind of loses to somebody who's really good, and then we worry. Now we see him against a more winnable team, but we know that the 49ers defense knows how to stop Kansas City's offense.
They remember that Super Bowl.
Scare me. And San Francisco at home, they are dangerous. But, Juju and VS both getting touchdowns last week. Like you said, even with the 2 picks, I do see that he was productive. So, Pat Mahomes, this could be a get-right game for him. I am wearing his jersey. I am going to go with him on the road. But I got to tell you, if they do lose in San Francisco, I would not be shocked. Like you said, it's a weird spread. I'm shocked this isn't one of the weird Vegas ones where San Francisco is not favored by, something, But this should be Kansas City on the road. I think that if a little Travis Kelce, George Kittle wouldn't hurt either. A little tight end matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also going with Kansas City. A lot of injuries for the 49ers last week that I think really hindered them in a loss against the Falcons. Better chance than week 6 to play. Quote from Kyle Shanahan about Trent Williams and Nick Bosa. Some very cryptic saying. But if they're out, I for sure can't see the 49ers win this game. If 2 of their pillar guys are out, we saw what happened last week and stuff like that. A little bit weird offense from them as well under Jimmy G last week. I'm curious to see if they have a slightly better bounce back game against the Chiefs. He's been playing a little bit weird, and I feel bad because I said he was so good in the system.
Yeah, I like the idea too that these teams kind of run the ball a lot more, and they do have a lot of committees. So that 48.5 over under, I'm taking the under. This is one of those games that Kansas City like
24-21. That's a 45-point spread right there.
Yeah, I'll take that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like Tony. I can't believe Tony Romo predicted the score last week. That's something I want to shout out. That is insane. Did you see that video?
Yeah, he's so good at what he's so good at his job.
He's too good.
Pay that man more. Pay that man. All right, everyone. That is all the time that we have. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll be back with more with the Monday Night Football episode.
Yeah, and thank you guys for checking this out. Week 7, Sunday Super Flex. Appreciate all you guys checking this out all the time. JustSayingFootball.com. Just Saying Football on YouTube. Just Saying NoGWJS on Instagram. And have a good week 7. Hopefully these picks are a little higher than mine.
And hopefully the bye weeks don't kill your fantasy teams.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah.